Hi, I thought I'd just shoot a short video about my Yamaha TDM 850 Twin 1993. This is the bike that I've been using for my tours around New Zealand. Now my second tour of New Zealand. I did my first one in 2019 and then this bike was stored until this year. I was quite pleased with the purchase of the bike in that I did it completely blind and completely on trust over the internet with a guy in New Zealand whilst I was in the UK, and the deal was that I would pay for it in full. He would store it for me for 6 months. I would fly in, he would collect me from Christchurch Airport and then take me to the bike. I have to admit, when I was flying into Christchurch Airport, I was a little bit concerned because I thought to myself, if this guy doesn't show up, there isn't an awful lot I can do. But he showed up, took me to the bike, it was exactly as described, and I loaded up my kit and off I went. This is my first experience of a Yamaha and my first experience of a TDM. Took a little bit of getting used to at first, especially third gear. Third gear is notoriously clunky, but I found on the TDMs that if you preload the change before actually pulling in the clutch and then just pull in the clutch and then take up the last part of the change like that, in third gear it's not too bad. Now the change from second to third isn't too clunky. Also, something on the TDM is the final drive chain. Now normally one might expect the slackness on the drive chain to be, say, 2.5 centimeters or something. On the TDM it needs to be about 5 centimeter slack, which initially in my mind seemed to be an awful lot, but if you tighten it right up, that gear change then becomes incredibly clunky. So that was a quirk that I needed to get used to. Fuel consumption is about 15 clicks to a litre. Works out to about, I think it's something like 38 miles to the gallon, which is okay for touring in New Zealand. There's a few spots or situations you might get yourself into where you do need to carry some fuel, so I've got an extra 5 litres in here to carry. Other quirks about the TDM, seem to be very reliable overall. The only major issue I've had this time, having brought with me a spare clutch cable, a spare throttle cable, spare spark plugs. The thing that then broke down on me was my fuel pump. That broke down in a place called Takaka. Try to be quite philosophical about situations like that, in that as the fuel pump broke down, whilst it annoyed me, it threw me off my itinerary a bit. It led me to meet some great people, and a guy called Glenn at Suzuki in Takaka then let me use his workshop and all his tools to extract the old fuel pump and fit the new one. And the fact that he didn't know me from Adam until I turned up at his shop, having pushed my bike about a kilometre to his place, I found his response just to be fantastic. So yeah, extremely grateful to Glenn at Suzuki and to Kaka for that. You might wonder why I'm just walking around my bike on a handheld. That's because I'm new to all this vlogging lark or making videos lark, so still just using a handheld camera on it. Engine characteristics of the 850 water-cooled twin. Great for touring at slow speeds. Like, I'm a bit older now, so tend to ride quite slowly. Lots of low-end torque and things. If you do need to suddenly shift and overtake things then yeah, before you know it, you're sort of doing silly speed to achieve that. The fuel pump that I fitted is actually quite loud now, so I'll just switch it on and then you should hear it click. That's her firing up, having been standing for 3 days. So yeah, she is running lovely at the moment. Right, just wondering if there's anything else I should mention really. You'll see that the tank's quite badly scratched and things. This is very much a working bike. It's quite nice to have a bike that you're not too concerned about the cosmetics of it, because you can just use it and abuse it, and if you happen to drop it, it's not such a serious thing. Something I did find about having a magnetic tank top bag is that when you take your tank top bag off to then go and have a coffee or something, and you're walking through the cafe, which happens to have lots of metal back chairs, you do tend to cause chaos as you trail a load of chairs through the cafe after you. Anyway, hope that's of interest to folk. I'll be improving these in the future with more sort of camera stuff and things, but I thought it was time that I actually had a video which at least had me talking on it and discussing a topic as well. As for the Yamaha TDMs, they're not a modern bike in the normal sense of the word. However, they are ICU free. Sorry, not ICU, ECU free, which I think is great, because it means if they do break down, they're relatively easy to fix. You can pick them up in the UK still for about 1,500 quid for a good one, and if it's really, really good, maybe 2.5k. Interestingly though, this is the only one I've ever seen for sale in New Zealand. There is a guy who's got one in Christchurch who I've been chatting to over social media. Maybe on my next trip I'll go and see him. Anyway, that's it from me. Okay, cheers, bye bye.